Who? Who? Man, it's been 3 months since the last King of the Hill episode I discussed, and that was my rediscussion of the pilot episode. So I think it's time to scratch that propanage, I tell you what. And as I stated in one of my streams, I'm feeling Dotrieve. And thanks for you, fellow Hooties. The episode I'll be discussing is arguably my least favorite episode. It's up there with the Season 8 episode, Oprah Hank, Le Deluge. But unlike the Flood episode, I will say Hank wasn't completely innocent in the situation. I mean, when you make it clear that you don't have confidence in your son, understandable as it may be that he's seen Bobby fail at and give up on many things, to the point where Hank gave up on getting his hopes up on Bobby being in a sports team, causing basically everyone to turn on him. Whether you agree with Hank in this episode or not is entirely up to you Hooties. Now, my hoot in the dark on this matter. Hank should have never given up on Bobby, regardless of how many times he fails. You should always tell Bobby to give it his all, no matter what he did. And yes, Hank, even stuff you have no interest in. Anyways, what I know we can all agree on is that Bill is way out of line here. Again, it's up to you Hooties if you think he's worse than when he was in the Flood episode. Another episode where Bill is given just a little authority and it goes right to his head and becomes the absolute worst. And everyone is hostile to Hank while Bill laps up all the attention he can get. But this time, Bill really crosses a line with Hank. What line, may you ask? Well, let's go out to the ball game, and let's get to discussing King of the Hill, Season 13, Episode 16, Bad News Bill, which the name is a homage to the classic movie Bad News Bears, and aside from the sports being involved, has no connection. Hank has a good mail haul when he sees it's time for the South Arlen Youth Baseball, and his mood goes right down the pooper. Hank not thrilled about another season on Bobby not being good at baseball.
That's my boy. That's my boy. That boy.
Now I might be able to understand where Hank is coming from here. I mean, it's Bobby after all. You know, ain't right. But what Hank doesn't seem to understand is that Bobby is actually excited to play baseball. Yeah, he's actually excited to play this season. Why would Hank care about the parents who see him as long as Bobby is having fun? Oh wait, it's Hank we're talking about. Just look how happy he is at the baseball form arrives as they get Bobby equipment, and just look how excited he is as a random dad chats with Hank.
Getting Bobby outfitted for the season?
Yep.
Again?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
Well, great, random guy. I don't know if he has a name. You really needed to add salt to the already festering wound that is Hank's embarrassment of having to see Bobby be bad at baseball? Which, again, why should you care as long as Bobby is having fun? Heck, you should be happy that Bobby is taking an interest in any kind of sport that you like. I mean, would you rather he play soccer? And this was before Hank became a fan of soccer. And yes, I know that's because the lawn and first. But I think it also helped that it gets Peggy's boggles a-shaking. Oh yeah! Hank sees a new team and signs Bobby up so he can have a fresh start. And despite Bobby having fun, Hank is worried he'll be embarrassed here when Hank meets the coach. And already he doesn't make the best good impression by not having the best opinion on his son, and how even Bill jumps at the opportunity to volunteer. Which at first is nice for Bill to want to volunteer for anything and not be depressed, However, we also know what Bill will become when the slightest bit of amount of power goes to his head. Now, the coach isn't a bad person, I know. He's in fact very supportive of Bobby, helping him feel like he can do anything, which is good. Until you realize that he isn't teaching him how to be a better player. He's just telling him he's great, which is what a coach is supposed to do. Oh, and if you're wondering how long it takes before Bill becomes annoying, well, not even the first game, and Bill is already acting annoying, trying to push the hills to the overpriced snack stands.
No, Bill, we're good. We brought water.
Oh, might just go to the snack stand, reach into the till, and help yourself to the money we rely on to keep this great program afloat.
Bill can't just let one day go without acting like some superior person and guilt-tripping Hank into spending money on overpriced nachos and or hot dog. Oh, who am I kidding? Bill would have made Hank buy both for Peggy and Luann. Bobby's up to bat, and despite Hank telling him not to, Bobby actually does a good job. However, when he congratulates the coach,
Yeah, this is what happens when you support a child.
Huh?
See, I haven't given up on Bobby the way you have.
now normally I would say something like, "How dare that mean coach say that to our precious propane princess?" But as you will find out, this is a justified response in this case. Hank even admits that he's given up on Bobby. And it doesn't matter how gradual the process of giving up was. The fact that you gave up on him in the first place is why I'm more inclined to take the coach's side than yours. But Hank decided that he's gonna start fresh and support him. But the coach isn't buying it and sends him to Bill. And for those who haven't seen this episode, or the aforementioned flood episode, or even my review of it, weird. You're about to see a side of Bill that only comes out when he's given any kind of responsibility or power. And instead of being desperate to be useful, or that he even mattered, Bill thinks he's more committed than Hank and sends him on snack stand duty and has to deal with snotty customers, deal with his weird order.
I'll have a cheeseburger, hold the lettuce, pickles, cheese, and meat, and instead of special sauce, I'd like very special sauce.
Dang it, Dale, move.
And even Bill, when all Hank wants to do is watch Bobby play. Which, as much as I can't stand Bill, Hank kind of brought it on himself. The coach and the parents didn't just assume that Hank gave up on his son. Hank admitted it. And yes, I agree that they treated him a little too harshly, especially Bill. I mean, he of all people knows that Hank isn't a bad parent, so why is he acting all high and mighty? Dale, of course, is allowed to be, well, Dale. Bill even has the gall to thank Hank that he tells him when he can see Bobby. But to Hank's credit, he resists the urge to knock Bill out and keeps working the snack stand. Meanwhile, the coach keeps encouraging Bobby, even if it sounds a tad odd.
You're a rainbow! The fastest rainbow in the world! Personal best by .02 seconds! That is how you do it! You're gonna be in the major league someday!
All right!
But it seems to do the trick. Bobby beating his personal best by 0.02 seconds, telling him that he's gonna make the big leagues. And when he tells Hank, he still has no faith in Bobby, even if it means that I have to be on the same side as the snotty Bill Dauterive. I'll just say this now. I don't agree with Hank at all here. I talked about this in my rediscussion of the pilot episode, that Hank may have helped Bobby out in situations that would have ended bad for him. The narrative that he stopped supporting him because I know what he can do and what he can't do makes no sense. I think Bobby needed to stay in the game so he can improve and get better. If you never feel the bitter sting of failure, how can you enjoy the sweet taste of victory when you succeed at something? In other words, If Bobby is never allowed to lose, how can he learn to win? If you prefer a more musical lesson, I know it's everybody's sin. You got to lose to know how to win. I'm not saying Bobby has to lose all his life, but you, Hank, have a responsibility to teach Bobby how to win and try to teach him a way he'll understand. I know you don't exactly have the best father figure, but this is your chance to be a better father. Anyways, Bill runs off to be wined and dined by the sunflower sellers, acting like some snooty manager, and Hank goes back to watching Bobby play when Bobby's coach calls in and says the assistant coach had to leave and takes the opportunity to get on the field and finally help out, taking catcher. And I'm gonna ignore the coach's disrespectful attitude.
I played some catcher.
Yeah.
Because again, Hank, it's not like this isn't completely unwarranted. A tad overboard, maybe. But since Hank still has little to no faith in Bobby, I can't fully support Hank. But hey, Hank's participating in the game. Now Hank can show Bobby that he believes in him, and he can show the coach and the parents that he supports Bobby and
Yeah, he's out of there.
knock a kid out. How exactly was that supporting Bobby? I don't even know what you were doing. You were supposed to be watching Bobby. You know, your son. But then, you were focused on someone else and deliberately whomped that kid and cheered. That was no accident. I'm honestly surprised you weren't arrested for that. Hank stands before the baseball trial, and we have to deal with more Bill's bloated ego, as Hank is permabanned from all Arlen South facilities, causing tension in the alley to be so thick even Dale picks up on it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm sensing some tension here. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of enjoying it.
Also, if you think Bill hasn't crossed the line yet,
I'm talking about old Hank, man. Bill done you up to all kinds of wrong, man. Well, thanks, Boomhauer. I'm glad someone here is making sense.
You think I'm unfair, Hank? Just be glad I'm allowing you contact with Bobby at all.
and of course, look how fast he folds like soggy butt napkins when Hank steps up to him, yapping out that he has a game to go to that Hank can't and that Bobby is starting. Alright, Hooties, get comfy, because I'm going to talk about this little interaction, this little statement Bill meekly spat at Hank. A man that could and should have put him back in that wheelchair, this time for not stuffing his bill hole full of copious amounts of junk, but for speaking that way to Hank the Propane Man Hill. Who do you think you are? You bald, flabby Cajun stew, meek, no kid having wife leaving you on Christmas Eve, no tone, ham bone, butter eating, men's choir group singing, barbecue slinging, toe jam stinking, old lady dating, army barber? You don't have a kid. Why do you think you have any right to tell anyone that they're lucky that they can even talk to their kid? Just because the coach gave you the slightest bit of authority, you think you can tell Hank that he can talk to Bobby or not? If you're talking that way to Hank, you better get ready to speak with your whole hootin' chest, or in that case, your gut. At least Hank would have had some respect for you when kicking your hoot to wherever you were heading. Just the audacity to mock Hank and run off like that. Weak. So hearing that Bobby is starting, he's determined to see. Hank watches the game from the bushes as Bobby goes to right field. But unfortunately, Bobby is doing horrible, missing catches and making bad throws as the other team focuses on him. The coach not making it better by puffing him up as the blue team turns into Big Mouth Titans mocking him when suddenly he gets yanked out of the game by Hank. Now look, I get what they're trying to do here. Hank saving Bobby. But here's the thing. Bobby can't improve if Hank can't help him or teach him. Yes, he's good at video games and comedy, and telling him how he should be proud of what he does good, but this isn't helping either. Agree or disagree, my fellow Hooties, all feedback is welcome. Bobby can only improve if he tries. Failing is part of the process, but this is how the plot wants Bobby to be, so I can't change that. I wish Bobby would have, had some actual improvement in baseball or sports instead of, oh, that boy ain't good at them stare sports. The thing I want to push at that boy into doing like he was like his old man. Then again, this is like the 13th season, so I can't really argue that Hank hasn't accepted Bobby for, well, Bobby by now. Anyway, that was Bad News Bill, the other Bad Bill episode. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this episode and the review. As always, you Hooties' opinions and feedback mean a lot, and I can't thank you enough for all of your support, old and new Hooties. Like the video, share with your fam and cheese, subscribe today and join the Parliament of Hoots. I'm gonna get back to my VR a little more before working on the editing on the video. I'm gonna get the video out, I promise. Until then, my Hooties, I'll see you when you visit the Owlery again, and I give my hoot in the dark. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like, share with your fams, and hype if that's even a thing that's possible for my videos. I don't know what that's about. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe today and join the Parliament of Hoots. Don't forget to check out my other social medias like Twitter and Instagram and even Twitch, even though I'm hardly ever on there anymore, and my PlayStation Network account. Also, check out those videos down there. It'll take you to more of my content. And until then, I'll see you when you visit the Owlery again, and I give my hoot in the dark.